Just another brother with another humble question. Just another brother with another humble question.
Welcome to another episode of A Brother with Questions. I am your host, B. Period. Man, I appreciate y'all for joining me. Man, we're going to jump right on in here today. Please like, subscribe to the channel. Click that little like button. Boop. You know what I'm saying? Click the notification button too. Boop. We dropping 2 times a week. So we dropping pretty consistently. But let's dive on in, man. Let's talk about Mr. Don Lemon, man. Mr. Don Lemon. Can we talk about Don Lemon for a little bit here? So for those that don't know, if you have been under a rock lately, Mr. Don Lemon had got a deal with Elon Musk's platform X, and supposedly the deal was going to pay him a few $1 million. So this always sounds good when you can make a few $1 million. And so as a part of the rollout, Mr. Don decided to have Elon Musk on. He asked him to be his first guest, and they did the interview. And apparently the interview is should have been dropping today as of this recording anyway. But after the interview, he quickly got a message that was sent to his lawyers by Mr. Elon Musk saying that the contract that they had agreed upon is done. Over. Finite. You're out of here, buddy. So I don't know. We haven't, obviously the whole video hasn't dropped, but apparently after the video, Elon Musk decided to cancel his whole contract. So here he is on The View, or as some people call it, the cackling hens here, discussing what happened. So let's take a look.
This week, there's some news with Don Lemon, and he's here today, journalist Don Lemon.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, here's the story before we go. He's having a menopausal. So Don Lemon was supposed to kick off his partnership with Elon Musk on the billionaire social media platform X, also known or previously known as Twitter, but next week. But instead, Musk just ended up cutting ties with our darling Don Lemon after a rather tense interview session. Watch.
Hate speech on the platform is up. Do you believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform? That you wouldn't have to answer these questions from reporters about the Great Replacement Theory as it relates to Democrats? I don't have to answer these questions. The Great Replacement Theory as it relates to Jewish people. Do you think that? I don't have to answer questions.
So right there, you know, you can see in his face. He got that face, like that's the face that you. I don't know if this is what he was thinking, but the face says, "Really? You really about to ask me a question like this? Really? Okay, that's what we're doing. All right, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Go ahead. What you got to say?"
Just from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because you're on the X platform and you asked for it. Otherwise, I would not do this interview.
So you don't think? Do you think that you wouldn't get in trouble or you wouldn't be criticized for these things?
I'm criticized constantly. I could care less.
What a
Right there, you can tell the look in his face, like, really, man, this is what we're doing. So obviously, you know, and the whole video hasn't come out, so we don't know what's going to actually show up in the video. But just the idea that here you are, and you are talking with what in essence is, I mean, let's be honest, this is the guy, this is your boss, and for your first interview, you wanted to kick off the interview by, quote unquote, calling out your boss. Let's just pin that right there. You want to kick off your interviews by calling out the man who ultimately signs your checks to say, "Sir, I think you're wrong, and I think you need to address this wrong that you're doing to society." That's the first. Come on. Really? I'm going to come back to that idea, though. You want to call out your boss. But let's see what else the cackling hens have to say.
snowflake. What a snowflake. Wow.
I could use some
Please
snowflakes
welcome
right now.
Don Lemon.
Joy, let me just say that I was determined to get a reason to have the fan is because I jumped out of the car sitting in traffic at Times Square.
Yeah.
No, at Herald Square. I jumped out of the car, got on the subway, and ran 8 blocks just to be with you ladies.
Did you really?
I did.
I'm glad you explained it because TMC is going to be.
TMC is outside, by the way. They're
Now
outside.
Don Lemon's running down the streets of New York like a crazy man.
Okay, so before we get to what happened exactly, let's back it up a bit because when you left CNN last year, Elon Musk actively courted you to be on Twitter, X, whatever he calls it. Have you considered doing a show, he said, on this platform? Maybe worth a try. Audience is much big.
Okay. So that's, so the first point they want to make is that Elon Musk suggested that maybe you ought to come do a show. And so, for me, I look at that and I go, that sounds like good business, right? Don Lemon, not my cup of tea. I don't necessarily agree with the things that he has to say, but anyway, there seems to be an audience for Don Lemon. He lost the audience that he had at CNN. So here's a guy, he's looking to build up a platform. He goes, hey, we got an audience over here. Maybe you ought to go. Like, I get that part. That part I get. I can even see, right? Because it's similar to what he did with Tucker Carlson, right? He brought Tucker Carlson over. Tucker Carlson has an audience on X. So I get that part. I don't even see what would be so odd about that concept.
Bigger, said Elon Musk. But everyone knows how controversial Musk is. So I have to ask you, didn't you know this was going to end badly? He's, Musk is not really,
I went into this with my eyes open. And look, this is just an old saying in the South. And they say, you knew I was a snake before you picked me up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a snake, but I'm just saying that it's relative.
Right.
I'm saying you the snake. That's he knew you was a snake before he picked you up. But come on, man. Elon Musk is eccentric. Elon Musk is unique. Elon Musk is aloof. Elon Musk seems to care a lot about Elon Musk. So that's established, and that's who he is. And Elon Musk is worth upwards of $50-60 billion. So honestly, who's going to tell him not to? I don't know if I was worth that much if I wouldn't be as aloof as he is about different things. So it is what it is. Nobody's going to change him, and he's going to be who he is. At the end of the day, according to him, he created X to be a place for free speech, right? And so Don Lemon, someone who has a voice, why would the free speech guy not allow you to come to his platform? Why not? I'm about free speech. If I let Tucker Carlson go at it on one end of the spectrum, why shouldn't I let you go at it on the other end of the spectrum? Balanced content. There's nothing wrong with that. So regardless of what you think about him, come on, what's wrong with that?
To this. So I went into this with my eyes open, but truly, I went into it with the best of intentions. I heard your conversation just briefly about independence. I am an independent, regardless of what people think. Elon Musk thinks I'm on the left or what have you. I'm an independent. I believe in free speech. I believe that people have the right to say whatever they want to say, but you suffer the consequences for it when you say it.
Right.
So I took them at their word. They courted me.
He believes in free speech as long as that speech doesn't hurt him. That's when the speech is hurtful to him, then it's not so free anymore. So come on, man. You don't really believe in free speech, because if you did, you wouldn't be questioning the owner of a free speech platform as to why he allows free speech on his platform. Because that's essentially what the question was that you asked in the video. Why, as the owner of X, would you allow true free speech to take place on X? Why would you not limit certain speech on the platform because there are people who find that particular speech hateful? That was your question, Mr. Free Speech. If it's going to be free, if it's going to be free speech, then it has to be free speech. Now, if someone outside of the platform wants to take consequences because of something you said on the platform, so be it. But as the platform, if you're going to be the place for free speech, you have to allow it to be said. Otherwise, it's not free speech. You know, it used to be that we actually believed in that in this country. It used to be that we really did have some sort of free speech. But in the last 5 to 10 years, we really don't believe in that anymore. We really believe in speech that is comfortable for everybody. And if it's not comfortable, then it shouldn't be said. That's the speech we believe in today. And if you do say it, well, then we're going to make you pay. We're going to make the people who allowed you to say it pay, and we're going to make you pay, and we're going to make anybody that defends you pay. That seems to be the goal today. Everybody has to pay because you're not just allowed to say whatever you want to say. And it's the free speech.
For months.
Yeah.
And when their new CEO came aboard, she courted me. Their management team courted me. They sweetened the deals with incentives. And I said that was the biggest and best place for me to launch a show. And because you know what's happening with television now and what have you, it's shrinking.
Yeah.
But I thought, why seed Twitter or X is one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, one of the biggest information platforms in the world. Why cede that platform to extremists?
Yeah.
So I wanted to get on there and I wanted to fight it out so everyone could have a voice.
Yeah. And they were basically begging you to do it.
Yeah. They were.
And you did it, even though a lot of your friends told you were crazy.
Like you.
Thank you.
Like you.
I did too.
But so Elon Musk famously claims to be a big proponent of free speech. He refers to himself as a free speech absolutist. He calls X the digital town squares.
Yeah.
And he willingly agreed to this interview that you asked for and said that there were no restrictions. So what exactly happened? What set him off? And then he sends this terse text to
I'll tell you what set him off. Yeah, this is where I'm going to cut this off right here because I'm tired already. So what set him off? Can we just have an honest conversation with each other? Regardless of what you think about Elon Musk, here's the scenario. Elon Musk owns X. Don Lemon was trying to sign a contract with X. Therefore, Don Lemon, Elon Musk is your boss. Got it. So, how are you going to request an interview with your boss and then ultimately decide that I'm going to, quote unquote, hold him accountable in a way that nobody else has ever held him accountable? I'm going to call him out for all the things that other people say he is and show him that you just can't be whatever particular way. And then once you finish said interview, then go, I appreciate you for being on my platform. What? There is no job in America where you can call your boss out for all the things that you think they're doing wrong and then walk out of the interview and then go, and thank you for my raise. Like, that's not a real thing. Like, we're talking about this because the world is upset with Elon Musk. By the way, let's just reflect on that for a second, right? Elon Musk, at the end of the day, is an entrepreneur. Elon Musk has revolutionized electric cars, a stamp which will be here 200 years from now, right? Because before Elon Musk, nobody was doing electric cars at the level of Elon that they're doing it, right? He set a trend and now has the whole world trying to catch up with his trend. Stamped. We'll be talking about him 200 years from now. He is creating, he is essentially funding and supporting the NASA right now. Because the government's no longer sending, they're no longer sending astronauts into space, right? They're allowing private companies to do that. One of the private companies is called SpaceX. So therefore, he's sending astronauts into space. He is leading his company anyway, is leading the charge on taking us not only to the moon, but ultimately to the Mars. Once that's done, stamped 200 years from now, he's creating a product called Neuralink. They just said they're testing their first human subject. And if that product is successful, it's going to revolutionize how we treat dementia, right? Revolutionize how we treat Parkinson's, and who knows what other applications they're going to apply once they prove their product successful. It's going to change the entire scope of how people live in their older ages, perhaps even lengthening the time that one has on this earth because of this particular product. 200 years from now, we'll be talking about that. This is the gentleman that is revolutionizing the way the world acts today. And so, yes, he's an enigma. Yes, he's aloof. But you know what? I bet you, and when Einstein was alive, I bet you he was the same way. And so I'm not excusing him, but at the same time, we won't be talking about Don Lemon 50 years from now. Don Lemon is a footnote in the what? What has he done that 100 years from now we're going to be looking at? So we're talking about the big scheme of this thing. Yes, he's all of the things that y'all probably say he is. And to that I say, so what? Because his purpose here is to revolutionize the way we're living. His purpose is not to be your friend. He is an enigma in itself. The man here's a man who's worth $50-60 billion with like 3 or 4 baby mamas. Like, come on. Like, this dude he's not living in the real world. So he's not going to think the way regular people do. So I don't, whatever. I don't even look at him for his opinions on society, because he doesn't live in society. He lives in this imaginary world that he's creating about what things could be, as opposed to what things are and how everyday people are treating the world. You're looking at the wrong person to find the moral of society. He's not. So the idea that you're going to now call out your boss on all the things that the left say he is or isn't, and then think once he's done, he's going to be like, yeah, go ahead and take my $100 million. It is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard of in my life, that you think you can just call anybody out. You can just try and call everybody to the carpet, and then they're going to still pay you $100 million. Dumb, stupidest idea I've ever heard of in my life. You know what? And you say, oh, well, why would he invite you on? Because he didn't expect you to try and go call him out. He expected you to go do the interviews that you wanted to do, leave him out of it, and do you. That's what he expected. I mean, is that so hard? Is that so hard to think that to build my own platform, I would go find my own guest, and then I would build my platform with the guest that I wanted to talk to? I wouldn't try and build my platform by tearing down the man who decided to give me $100 million. Are you kidding me? And you got people out here like the cackling hens talking about, it's just wrong that he would do that to you, Don. It's just typical of what he would do. No, Don, you stupid for thinking that you're going to go call the man out who's going to pay you $100 million and he's still going to give it to you. That ain't realistic. There's no job in America where you can call your boss out and then expect your boss to still give you the money, a raise. It's just not, it just don't make no sense, man. I tell you, these people, it's all good until the light's on them. And then when you put the light and the focus on them, then it's a problem. But as long as they shining lights and focusing on everybody else, then it's cool. But that's not how society works. If you want to turn the lens on him, then they're going to turn the lens on you, and you may not like what they see, just like you may not, and vice versa. And you just gonna have to deal with the consequences. So no, Don, I don't think Elon Musk was wrong. I think you're wrong for trying to build a platform by calling out the man who's trying to pay you $100 million. Out of all the people in the world that you could have called out, you decided to call out the man who's going to write you a check. And then you found out, oh, you mean if I call him out, he might not write me a check? Yes. That's how it works.